Hey everyone, welcome to Tio and Tito podcast. I'm Tio. I'm here with Tito, and yeah, this is episode 10. It's
Woo!
crazy.
Episode 10, April. April 4th, to be
April 4th.
exact.
When did we start?
Uh,
December.
well, we did it. We did do a Christmas episode. We did a Christmas episode.
Yeah. So I think that's
So
when we
at
started.
least, yeah, at least December. So, 5 months in and episode 10. Not bad. It is not bad.
Not bad. It's pretty good. How you
Yeah.
doing?
Today at work was crazy. I took a couple days off. Well, I took Friday and Monday off to help celebrate Isaiah's first birthday, which was amazing. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
it was awesome. It was great.
Thank you, thank you. But of course, taking 2 days off of work when you're the only person in your position has its ramifications. So I came back to mayhem, and I like stopped working at 7. It's now 8:30, so seven
Oh
to seven
man.
today. So it was a crazy day, but I think I'm in a good spot. So hopefully the rest of the week is better. But other than that, it was a great weekend. Again, had a great time celebrating with friends and family, and
Yeah.
Isaiah had a great time. And we're at a point in his not his life, but we're at a point where we're transitioning him to like different things, like his nap cycles. We're gonna transition him from 2 naps to 1 nap. We got him in his new car seat in the car. He's doing all sorts of things, and I feel like so much has happened just in the last like 48 hours. And he's like a whole new person, but it's all for the better and all for good, all for the greater good.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Um,
It's crazy how like once they turn one, there's just so much stuff happening all of a sudden.
hmm
But yeah, it was
Yeah, and
fun. The
yep.
celebration was really fun. There's so much food, so much good food.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we're still eating those leftovers. I think we're gonna be eating those leftovers for a while, but
I will come
uh,
get some. We finished our leftovers like the next day or the same day. I don't even know. But yeah, it was so good. Um,
yeah, Matt. Well, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I think same
Yeah.
as you. Last week I had a lot of work, but I try
Mm,
to get ahead of stuff.
yeah.
So I like said I was telling Lily I was working late last Tuesday, and she's like, "Oh, why is this deadline such a hard deadline?" I'm like, honestly, it's just I set it for myself,
Mm,
and I try to be strict on my own deadlines,
mm,
and because I don't want to slack off, because
mm-hmm.
especially working from home, it's so easy to be like, I'll do that later, or
Yeah.
like just to be nonchalant about the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Absolutely.
nah, I need to, like, I told myself I was gonna get this done by this date. Like, I'm gonna hold myself accountable, because if I don't, who else is going to, right?
hmm
So try
And
to
it's not
stay disciplined from that
a-
perspective.
absolutely, and it's not always like that. At least with our work, right? Like we
Yeah.
we have days where we can be a little more lenient. We can spend more time with the kids, with the wife, and there are some days where you're grinding from 7 to 7, 12 hours straight. And
Yeah.
it's a give and take. Fortunately, it's not. It's definitely more of it. It's not more of the latter, right? We get to be a little more lenient, but there are just those days that get sprinkled in where you have to work your ass off. But you know, it comes with the job.
Yeah. I think I know, at least for myself, I'm very strict on the times that I have for my family, where
hmm
it's like I tell the people at work, like, my day ends at 3 o'clock Pacific. Like, don't schedule anything with me past three. I'm not gonna join. And even like people that are higher up that try to schedule stuff after three, I'm like, don't bother. Like, I'm not gonna accept it. Like, you
hmm
can schedule a 5 a.m. meeting with me, and I'll be there. Like
Yeah.
before my kids wake up, and doing all that, or like during my regular work from like 6 to 3. But you try to schedule something from like 3 to 8 o'clock, I'm not. That's my family time. Like, I'm focused on them. They're what's most important to me right now in my life. From three to
hmm
8 o'clock is strictly family. If I have work to do still after 8 o'clock is when I'll get that stuff done.
Yeah.
Or if I don't get anything done, or don't get what I want to get done during the day, like after 8 o'clock, I'll figure it out then, or I'll just wake up super early the next day and get some more stuff done. But I try to be very like hardline about that stuff, right?
Yeah,
Because
no, for
it
sure.
if you're not strict with yourself, like I don't know, it's easy to just be like too lenient on yourself, and it
Yeah.
just goes downhill real quick.
Yeah, I have a quick funny story. So I'm training up a new employee to kind of work in the IT operations. And one of the first things I told him, like, hey man, work life balance is important. So, he was like, hit me up at 7 p.m. Pacific if needed. I'm like, nah, man, like work life balance is important. You need time for yourself, your family, for your friends. It's very important to me. And then here I am today working till 7 p.m.
Yeah, and it happens. Like
But yeah,
those days
yeah,
happens where I'm gonna end up working more than 8 hours some days. But
yeah.
luckily, I work in somewhere that's so flexible that I can kind of figure out my own hours for the most part. Um, and especially working with the folks in India,
Yep.
it's you have to either work super early or super late just to match up
Yep.
time zones with them.
Hmm.
And I know my buddies on the East Coast, they appreciate it, me being up early for calls with them. So yeah, man, is the beauty of working globally now, right? And working
Yep.
remote is
Yep.
it's a give and take. You kind of like work sporadic hours, but I know a lot of people that don't like that. Like they'd be like, I don't want to work from home. I want to just do my 9 to 5 and not worry about it, like before or
Hmm.
after. And you know what? I get that too. I get that too. I do miss some of those projects that I was on where I would just go in, clock out, and not have to worry about checking emails or
Right.
anything. But yeah,
And you knew it was like it was safe. Like you wouldn't wake up till like 100 emails
yeah,
from because everyone is clocked out at the same time. Everyone's clocked in at the same
yeah,
time. None of this like working around the world clock kind of a thing.
yeah.
But
I
yeah.
remember my last trip to Costa Rica.
Mm,
You During that vacation, one of the days I joined the call because I knew no one else was going to join. They needed me on there. I was going to be the one to plan that stuff out because we had a trip. As soon as we got back, I had a work trip, and
mm,
if I didn't schedule it out, no one else would. So I was like, I have to join this call. I told Lily. She was upset with me. Like she wasn't like mad. She was like, "Come on, like
you're on
you're
vacation,
on
you're
vacation." But I'm like,
FTL,
it's
you're
just an
yeah,
hour.
right.
But yeah, it's hard sometimes because you'll just worry about stuff not getting done. And you get back and you have this pile of work to get done. So
Hmm. Absolutely.
I think that's also why I don't really take vacation during the like Christmas to New Year's holidays.
Hmm.
Just everyone else is taking vacation, and that's my time to just kind of sit down and get to work and get all my backlog done.
Yeah,
And
for
and
sure.
and even then, because everyone else is off, I end
Hmm.
up working like 4 hours a day and get paid for the full day. So yeah, like that's always nice. But yeah, and it's so like all over the place depending on the company. Like I
Hmm.
remember when I was working for as a consultant for a big motion picture company, during the
Hmm.
holidays they were like off,
Hmm.
but they asked us to take turns just watching like monitoring the security stuff, the IT stuff.
Hmm.
And legit like I just had to like check every hour and that was it and that's all I had to do. And I was even worried because this was like straight out of college. I was like I'm getting paid hourly for this, and they're like, yeah, you just check the queue. If no one needs anything, just go do your thing, come back in an hour, check again. And I was just doing this from home, and yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting work
Yeah,
life balance and working from home.
it is. Yeah, I think it's gotten a lot better. I think for me, um, coming from a place where work life balance wasn't really uh, a priority,
Yeah,
um, and making it a priority for myself, and along with a company that does appreciate and make it a priority to have a work life balance. It's great. I love it.
yeah,
In a good spot.
yeah. Enjoy a lot. I noticed that at your at Isaiah's birthday party, a lot of your coworkers from your previous company are there, huh?
Just
So
a couple.
okay, are you close? Are you like do you remain close to them?
Just a few,
Yeah,
a few folks. Yeah.
I have a group of guys that from where I used to work at the consultancy straight out of college.
Hmm.
There's four of us or me plus four, and we're just like this core group. We all work for different companies now, but legit, we're the ones that'll jump on Discord, play games, and we have our chat that we just every day. They're more active in the chat than I am because I have kids and they don't. But
Mhm,
regardless, I go through the chat, I see what they're saying, and we keep in touch. And I feel like, especially your like first like career job, you
mhm.
kind of make those friendships,
Yes.
and then they stick around,
Yeah.
right? And I know in like professional terms, a lot of people are like, oh, it's your network, this and that, but it's different. It's different. It's like they're your actual friends.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
you would actually invite them to something like that, like Isaiah's birthday, right? Like
Mhm.
it's a big deal. So yeah, it's cool to see that. I used to have those connections.
Yeah, for sure. No, they've definitely upgraded from work colleagues to homies. So
Yeah, that's nice though. Uh, are you guys getting ready for Easter? I know you guys just had this big first birthday for Isaiah, but now it's moving on over to Easter.
yeah, thankfully, we're not at a point in our lives where we're responsible for hosting Easter. We usually visit our families. It's one of those holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, where we go see our different families.
Hmm.
Thankfully, my mom will be joining us for Angel's dad's side's lunch.
Oh, that makes it easy.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
and they've been doing that for the last few holidays, and it's been great to kind of cut down one less trip.
yeah,
Um, but it's a good time just having all the families together. Um, but yeah, we're gonna do a lunch, and we're the only family, or we're Angel and I are the only ones with a little one. So no Easter egg hunts, unfortunately.
uh,
Um, but just go to mass and
yeah,
have a nice lunch, and um, we'll see where we go from there.
yeah. We
What about you guys? What you got going on?
actually got into a heated discussion with Lily about this today. So I didn't grow up doing Easter egg hunts,
Okay.
and she did. And so she mentioned that she really wants the kids to do an Easter egg hunt. I'm like, the girls are 1 year old, they're not even gonna remember. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
Easter egg hunt for Toby, sure, like he's 4, he'll remember. And his cousins, right? And I was like, Lily, you figure it out. I don't care. I don't care about the egg hunt. And she got upset because she's like, you know what? Like this is how I grew up. This was like my Easter, and she's like, I try my best to like incorporate your like cultural things into our holidays, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like I apologize.
That's fair. Yeah.
And yeah, and I was like, yeah, I messed up. I should probably care more. But just in my head, it's always been like me growing up. Easter was a very religious holiday, right? It
Hmm.
was like we go to mass, and then we would do this thing called the kermes, or it's like a potluck, right? Just
Hmm.
bigger. Like you'd go to a park, and there'd be different families and part of like the Hispanic community at the church, and we would just get together, and every family would kind of bring their own dish, and everyone would share, and there'd be like a ton of food, and there'd be games and stuff, and that's kind of what we did for a really large portion of our life. Once we were older and we were really doing that stuff, we would just do mass and then just a lot of food at our
Hmm.
house. And but we never did like the Easter bunny or Easter egg hunt or any of that stuff really. And so it's interesting trying to mix her like culture and upbringing with mine,
Hmm.
because she didn't even know that that's how I celebrated Easter,
Hmm.
because Easter is our holiday. So like Lily and our family, that's the one that we decide what's gonna be done. So like
Oh,
my
okay. Okay.
parents come, and then her mom comes, and the family like comes to us for Easter, and the first few times we did it, I just did some carne asada, pues I made tacos, and obviously mass, and then that. Once Toby was 2, we would do the Easter egg hunt with him
Hmm.
and his cousins, but I never gave that like a lot of importance. Usually it's Lily and her mom that are organizing that.
Hmm.
But so I need to care more about that because that's kind of what she grew up on. Uh, but it's
And And it's fun. Like you know, you mentioned you played games when you were celebrating when you were younger. Think of it as like a game, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where and you can totally make it your own thing, right? You know, you can fill those eggs up with candy, with money, and uh, fill them up with nothing. I've got, I've had all the above. But you know, it can turn into a friendly competition, you know, with Toby and the rest of the kids, and you know, for them, it's also a bonding experience for them, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, I think you can totally make it into like a really good time for everyone. Um, you know, if you for I know some families they paint their eggs, so they don't really do the hunt, but they'll get like hard boiled eggs and they'll paint the shells like with the pastel colors and all that stuff.
Mm.
So that's another activity that I've heard of. Maybe I've done once, but it's been a while.
I think I did that at
Um,
school.
yeah, right.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like I'm confused by it sometimes too. Like so Lily told me that my nephew still believes in the Easter bunny. He's
Mm,
he's 9, he's 10. But I'm like believes in the Easter like Santa Claus?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
thinks
yeah.
that he's real? And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, I didn't know kids thought the Easter bunny was real. Like I thought kids just thought of the Easter bunny kind of how they think of like Mickey Mouse. Like they know
Mm-hmm.
it's a character.
This fictitious character. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's like, no, some kids are actually taught that the Easter bunny is real. I'm like, what? Like I'm just confused at this point because I didn't even grow up believing in Santa Claus. But
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
so
why. That's where it all
yeah,
went
that's
wrong.
what yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I don't want so Toby doesn't believe in Santa Claus. We tell him it's a game. It's not real,
Mm-hmm.
but it's
Right.
for fun and it's fun to pretend, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's just kind of how we're raising him because we also don't want him to be the one that's like telling everyone that's cool Santa Claus isn't real, haha. Like,
Yep. Yep.
and you know Toby, he would be one to say something dumb like that.
Troll.
But yeah, a troll. Uh, so that's what we're gonna do with the bunny, right? We're gonna say it's a game, it's just for fun,
Mm-hmm.
but also like tiptoe because the cousins think the Easter bunny is real, so
Mm-hmm.
that's always difficult.
Yeah. I mean, the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, like they kind of fall under, I feel like, the same realm. You know, I feel like the Easter Bunny isn't like as personally to me, like it's not as intense as Santa Claus in the sense that I don't feel like a lot of people I know or a lot of kids I grew up with know that or think that the Easter Bunny is real
Hmm.
more than they think that Santa Claus is real. If that makes sense,
Yeah, yeah,
right? But I think it's like that same kind of that mindset. It's just like another character to associate with kind of a major holiday kind of a thing.
hmm. Did you growing up for Easter, like what were the typical things that you did? I know coming from like a Filipino household that might have been different, but were there cultural things or was it very like Americanized Easter?
I think growing up, I know my mom who likes to watch. Hi, mom. Will say
Hi,
that they're
Connie.
definitely Corey.
Connie. Connie
No
watches
worries.
too.
Yes, yeah. Hi, it's Connie. My mom will say that there probably are cultural differences, or you know, there's cultural aspects in
Yeah.
the Filipino culture that they'll celebrate Easter. Um, but I think growing up for me, it was definitely more Americanized. You know, we would do the mass. We would go to the park, a family member's house, a friend's house to do the Easter egg hunt, eat lots of food. Um, but I'm sure, like with Christmas, you know, Easter is such a big holiday, especially coming from a culture that's very uh uh not religious, but heavily in Christianity and Catholicism. You know,
Hmm.
the celebration of Easter um is huge um in the Philippines.
Yeah. I know. Do you guys do something? So something we do, and it's leading up to Easter as part of like Holy Week, is the Via Crucis, which is on Friday. It's a literal reenactment of Jesus carrying his cross and like falling down.
Mm,
and usually in Mexico at least, and they do this in Costa Rica too. It in the towns they have actors that'll go through and they have like a script, and they're they practice this for months ahead of Easter,
mm,
and on that Friday they do a whole reenactment through the streets of
wow.
Jesus and the whole passion of the Christ. And I
Mm,
remember as a kid seeing that, and that was super impactful. And then going through that on Friday, like we would see Jesus be crucified, and then we'd go back home and we'd talk about it. And what we did in our home from Friday up until Sunday. So
mm,
Friday night after we do the Via Crucis, up until Sunday, there's like no TV, no radio. We're in like mourning, right?
mm,
We're mourning the loss of Jesus and
yeah.
him dying on the cross. And we do like prayers throughout the day. Saturday, we spend the day with our family. So we'll play like card games or stuff, or like we'll play games, but it's just like just focus on family, focus on each other, staying indoors. We're not like celebrating, right?
Hmm.
And then once Sunday comes, then it's the big feast, and it's crazy. Like that's just it was very very religious how we were
Mm,
doing. And that would just come from like my grandmas, both my Mexican grandma and my Costa Rican grandma. They were just uh, very religious in that sense, and where like they took Holy Week very seriously,
hmm.
and they would just go into Sunday. And then once Sunday came, it was like, all right, fiesta, like everyone party, have fun, like we're celebrating life, all right,
Right.
and that's what Easter was. So I always, yeah, I always found it interesting. Like my parents, like all day Saturday, they would fast. They wouldn't eat anything on Saturday,
Oh,
and then it would come until Sunday, and we would feast. So I know me, like as a kid, like they obviously wouldn't hold us to the fast. Like we would just have,
yeah.
but we would have just a regular day at home. Like we couldn't be like, hey, let's go to the park, let's do this. It'd just be like just chill at home. Like
Yeah.
we're in mourning,
I
and
think it's go
it's
ahead, go
just
ahead.
interesting.
I forget. I just quick story. I feel like it was I don't want maybe it was maybe it wasn't, but from what I recall, we were at your house and your parents were over, and I think it was Good Friday. And your mom or your parents brought over ceviche, and you guys
Yeah,
were making tostadas,
yeah,
and we we were telling your dad like, oh no, we had like our one meal already. You know, we're supposed to
yeah,
be fasting, and I forget what your dad said, but it was something on the long lines of like, Jesus will forgive you, kind of a
yeah.
thing.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Yeah,
Uh, just it's 'cause it's just funny that you bring up. I have no doubt in my mind that your parents are super religious and
yeah,
they practice all that. I just think it was funny, like for him to comment like that. And I know he's just being really welcoming and telling
yeah.
reassuring us like, hey, it's not gonna kill you if you have a tostada or two. Like you're not gonna
Right.
die. Um, but no, that's awesome. You know, you brought up the reenactment in Costa Rica.
Hmm.
I can't say for certain if that's something that they do in the Philippines, but when I was active in ministry, or even when I was in high school youth, like that was something that our core team or our junior catechists did. You know,
Hmm.
they would rehearse lines for months, take roles, and then give a presentation at one of the it's not one of the masses, but they would essentially do a live reenactment of the Stations of the Cross
Yeah.
for the church, and I thought that was I never understood uh when I was in high school. I never understood like why why would anyone want to do that. Part of me is because I don't I'm very bad at memorizing lines,
Oh,
but one time I was forced into it, and uh it was such a great experience.
hmm.
I think I did the role of Simon.
Nice.
Simon? Yeah. And then I narrated another year, but that was easy because I got to read
Yeah.
my lines. But yeah, the role of Simon, and that was a really impactful experience for me. So I can't imagine like going all out in the streets and
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Have you seen one in person?
Yeah.
Oh,
We've been out there to do it before, but I think a lot of Spanish ministries at churches here in the states do them too. Because I remember when I was back home in at Holy Name of Mary in San Dimas, they were doing a Via Crucis, and I was one of the soldiers in that
oh,
reenactment, and it was beautiful. Like at the end of it, we were a really like tight team there, and I
hmm.
think I was already 18 at the time, but we were just like really into our faith at the time, and I had just had my like I've always been Catholic, but I had my like
Aha
reconversion.
moment. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
and that was the year that I had that, and it was like felt like the community and like all of us coming together like really
yeah,
close. And I remember at the end of it, like when Jesus was on the cross, like we're all in character, like we had our script right and everything, but I was just bawling, and then like three of the other soldiers that were with me were all crying too, and we're all like, "Man, this is so beautiful. It's crazy. It just like you read the Gospels and you see the Passion of Christ."
yeah,
And you understand what it means. It's like that's the gospel right there. That's that Jesus defeats death. But seeing a reenactment like that, like play out in front of you, it's just
yeah,
so impactful, and it really gets to you
yeah.
to be able to experience the gospel in that way.
Yes,
So it's
absolutely.
so I get why they do it. I get
Right.
it. It's and to have a community like a whole pueblo doing it together and experiencing it, it's beautiful too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. So
It's
yeah,
such a
I
different.
haven't really seen that in a while. I just kind of last few years we just watched The Passion of the Christ on Friday, the movie.
Oh man. Oh, that movie's intense.
Yeah,
There's still some scenes I can't even watch.
but
It's
yeah,
hard.
if we don't go to Via Crucis, I've watched that with my parents a few times. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, it's but yeah, I'm looking forward to Easter this year. We're still trying to figure out what's happening, but yeah,
Yeah, it's always you're always trying to figure it out even till the day of, right?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Like
was
right
it
now, my parents are actually in Mexico, and we're trying to
what?
figure out, yeah, because they're out there. My mom wanted to be with my grandma. I talked on the last podcast on my uncle passed away, so my
Mm,
mom wanted to be out there with her for a few weeks, and my dad's there too. So they're
that's
coming back. I think they get back on Saturday, and
hmm.
then and they're gonna be with us for the weekend, and so we're still trying to figure everything out. But yeah, it should be a good time. I think on Sunday I'm gonna stick to the carne asada, pollo asado, make tacos.
Nice.
It's kind of our go-to for Easter right now, and easy to make. Everyone likes it.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yep.
so yeah, I'm looking
Yep.
forward to it. It's like our holiday, so everyone has to do what we say. So it's nice. And
Have you done
yeah,
a oh, go ahead, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, have you gone to an Easter Vigil Mass?
Yes. So last year was I think only like the third Easter Vigil Mass that I had been to,
Hmm.
and one of our friends, she was actually part of the candidates that were being confirmed.
Oh, an
Uh,
RCIA?
yeah, so
Oh, nice.
she was Lutheran and she was coming to the Catholic faith, and she participated in the Easter Vigil Mass. So I think last year my mom was in Mexico again, so it was just me and my dad. We went to be able to I mean celebrate. That's a celebration, right? To be
That's
welcoming
huge.
more people to the church, and
Hmm.
it was awesome. And her fiance at the time, now her husband, was there, and yeah, we had a really good time, and it it's really long,
Yeah.
but man, it if you're deep in your faith and you're able to experience that, it's just like going from the dark to the light at the very
Hmm.
beginning when it's all being narrated, going through all the different readings, and then welcoming people into the church at that time is such a celebration and should feel joyous,
Hmm.
and I think that was the first time I actually felt that, right?
Mm.
I think maybe because I knew one of the candidates,
Yeah,
Maybe that's what really kind of made it click for me. But yeah, seeing Serene like receive the chrism and go through all that, and I was just awesome to experience. And my dad was there with me, so it was dope. But
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, I really have you been?
I've been one time. One.
Yeah, I
And it
mean it's
was
hard because it's at midnight, so it's
it
yeah,
is, and I think it was at a point in my life where I was kind of like on that spiritual high, and uh, or in that phase.
yeah,
I went with some friends just to experience because I've never had, um, and it was hard. It was it was hard. Maybe I wasn't as invested because I didn't have someone to kind of cheer on,
yeah,
besides Jesus. But uh, I think, yeah, no, I'd like to do it another. I'd like to give it another shot now that I'm older and have a better appreciation for
yeah,
my faith. It's just been a while, but every time I bring it up to Angel, she's like, "Yeah, no, I'm in bed like at 7 p.m."
yeah. I know Lily likes her sleep, so I think I was gonna go because our friend was going, and Lily was like, "You go, like you'll be able to stay awake."
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and my dad was just like, "Yeah, I'll go too." Like, sure. Like I was like, "Oh, awesome." So I had my
Or
dad
what?
there with me.
Which parish did you go to
St.
last year?
Michael's, St. Michael's. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really cool if you can ever experience that. Just being able to welcome that many people into the church all at once from RCAA and experience like the full transition from, I guess, what I was talking about earlier, like morning into Easter, into the resurrection. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. I get that. Like the other times that I went, it was hard for me too. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep one of those times. Uh, but doing it, like, I don't know, man. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
No, for sure.
seeing the
I bet.
tabernacle and all that like reopen after being closed. Like, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think uh like this last Sunday, Palm Sunday, right? We heard it's when we hear the Passion, right?
Yep.
The parish we go to invites people to sit down during the gospel just because
It's so long.
it's so long. Yeah, I'm like, oh
Did
God,
they read
thank God.
everything that's in brackets?
They read
Yeah.
everything. They read everything. And I know some parishes you stand for the whole thing. And I remember just growing up, like looking at my brothers and my mom, like, really, like, why are why are we doing this? But then when it came to like the audience participation, we'd be like super into it. Uh, like, my favorite line is always like, "Release Barabbas," just like exclaim that. Uh, but yeah, I know and I think we were talking about earlier, just hearing the gospel like in that context versus like seeing it or being able to reenact it is such a huge, like such a different experience,
Yep.
and definitely worth uh being part of if you and anyone ever gets a chance.
Yep. But yeah, I'm excited for it. We'll see how
Dope.
it goes. Uh, how did you do with your Lenten
Oh,
fast? Would you give up on Lent again? I know
I
social media was
did.
one of them.
Social media is one I'm killing. Uh, okay, I wouldn't say I'm killing it. I think I'm doing. I haven't touched Instagram, Twitter, uh, TikTok, Facebook. I've avoided all that. And then I recently discovered YouTube Shorts.
Ah.
But I will say YouTube Shorts made it easy for me because not a lot of people are on YouTube Shorts
Yeah.
quite yet. Or at least like my interest.
Hmm.
They're not a lot of that content is on YouTube Shorts. So every now and then, I'll catch myself looking at it, but
Scrolling. Yeah.
it's not as like addictive as the other platforms are.
Yeah, I think Shorts isn't meant to be addictive the same way that like the TikTok algorithm or even like the
Yes.
Instagram one is.
Hmm.
I think YouTube wants to put in front of you like the accounts you subscribe to and the type of videos that you watch, and that's it. Like they're not gonna be like, watch this. Okay, now watch this. Like
Yeah.
so,
And I'm
yeah,
glad.
it's definitely
I'm glad.
different. But yeah,
Yeah. So that again, I think I'm doing I'm doing pretty well on the eating out. Not so well. It's and I'm I'm just it's just excuse. It's just an excuse, but it's when you have a pregnant wife who craves
mm-hmm.
and you can't help but like want to join her in solidarity. you,
Solidarity.
you just you fall into it, or I fell into it. Um, but I think overall, you know, uh, it's been a good. All right, we did well for the most part. I think
Yeah, you
it's
think
just
you're
maybe.
you think you'll
But
stick to some of you think some of it will stick past Lent?
I would like to for especially for the eating out, but that's it's. I think that's hard to say because with the kid on the way, it's just
Yeah,
easier
once the
to.
kid's here, you're gonna
Yeah,
yeah. Once you have a new
the
kid, you're gonna eat out for like the next 2-3 months.
hmm but flip side, friends and family are usually providing that food that
Exactly.
you're
Yeah, it's
eating out
different.
from. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the social media stuff, I think I would. I've It's been nice not being on my phone for so long.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, and even during the day, I was using that screen time, that native Apple
Mm.
functionality to kind of block out time
Yeah.
in previous Lenten seasons, whereas this season I just completely like signed out and didn't want to touch it. So I'll probably when I'm back into it, I'll probably set like limits and whatnot.
Yeah.
What those limits are, I'm not sure yet, but I think it's helped cleared space in my brain for
Yeah.
for more important things.
It's definitely interesting. I used to be really big on mobile games,
uh,
and one Lent I completely removed all mobile games from my phone.
um,
And ever since then, that was years ago. That was like maybe like 5 years ago.
mhm.
And ever since then, I have not had a mobile game on my phone. I just
Wow.
realized how much time I was spending just on my phone and not paying attention to what's happening around me. So even like to this day, I'll have like my nephew will ask me, "Hey, do you have games on your phone?" I was like, "Nope. You can watch YouTube. Here you go." But yeah,
Uh,
that definitely stuck.
is that why you mostly game on like your Mac or your iPad then?
Yeah, yeah. I'll game on my iPad, and for the most part, it's just like a handful of games that I play on there, and I'll just sit with Toby while he's on his tablet for like an hour at the end of the day, and that's it. That's
Mm-hmm.
the time that I play with him. Or if he's playing like video games, like after dinner, I'll sit down with
Mm-hmm.
him and play video games. That's pretty much my gaming right now.
Uh,
But yeah,
I like really quick going back to uh my Lent stuff, the social media. One day I'd like to tease Angel, but one day she caught me just scrolling. I think it was like the Wingstop menu because they had new flavors, and she was
oh,
like, "Is this what you're doing now? Now that you can't look at social media?" I'm like, "It just you caught me at the wrong time." I was looking at new flavors, so every now and then I'll just open up Yelp and just scroll, and or I'll look at like the Jersey Mike's menu and just scroll for just to, in hopes that Angel will catch me and call me out. But I just thought that was funny. Um, but yeah, I hope my time does not get consumed by
yeah.
scrolling up other apps.
Do you do the phantom scrolling?
Yeah. She's like, you just need something like to swipe up with. I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
I was
no.
at a retreat, confirmation retreat, not this past weekend, the weekend before,
Mhm.
and we take their phones away from the kids for the whole weekend. And you can see some of them with like they have like the phantom vibration. They'll like touch their leg and like, oh, I don't have my phone, or oh, they'll just go like this,
Like, yeah, they're
and
like,
I'm
check.
like, you guys need to relax. Like, why are you so on edge right now? Like, they legit feel like they're missing something,
Yeah.
yeah, like disconnecting from that is important. It's really
Yeah.
important. Um,
How was that, by the way?
the retreat,
Your retreat? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was awesome. We went up
You.
to Pine Valley. Um, this time I was doing the music, so it's
Cool.
uh it's a little more intense. I did the music and I had to do a talk. So I wasn't just a chaperone on this one, but yeah, it's really good. One of the kids in the class asked me to be his sponsor for confirmation, so that's really
Oh,
exciting.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm excited to be able to be his sponsor. We connected a lot during the retreat, and yeah, and you just get close to those guys really. Like it's a different experience from the retreat I did before. Because the one
Mm-hmm.
before I was just a chaperone, like I was in like the adult cabin, and then
Mm-hmm.
this time I'm like I
You're
have
out
like
there.
yeah, and I have like eight kids in the cabin with me, and like we have like four cabins with like the four adults, the like counselor in each one, and just man, those kids are funny though. They're awesome, and especially like late at night the conversations that you have, especially
Yes.
especially after like the Friday night, it's still a little immature and like the excitement of just being there. But like Saturday night, like
Yeah.
when they start opening up and having like real conversations in those cabins, I feel
Yeah.
like sometimes that's the moment to minister almost
Yes.
more than like in the like discussion groups. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you can talk to them there and they have so many questions for like me, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm they see me, I'm a dad, I have like my job and stuff, but I'm still doing this. So they're asking like, why do you do this? And like
Mm-hmm.
why like one of the guys legit asked me like, why do you always seem so happy? I was like, oh man, like that's a good question. Like it's a good
Why
question. Like
not?
they might be coming from a different place in life, right?
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
being able to show them that and have those conversations with them, like it's really cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. Love working with them. So yeah, excited for what's to come. We still have a few more classes left, and then we have confirmation.
Good.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome, man.
it's awesome. Uh, I was gonna say for mine, like I was talking to them about this too.
Yeah.
Uh, do you remember I gave up secular music?
Yes.
So it that's really hard for me, especially with how much I love music. Like I'm usually listening to it all day. But luckily, I I did a lot of research going into it. Like I need I need my like heavy rock music. What are some like good like Christian bands like
Alternatives.
metalcore bands and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then, but I was really into like Bad Bunny, right? Like I was listening to a lot of like that reggaeton stuff,
Uh-huh.
especially being like Latino. I love it, like Bad Bunny, Rosalia, all that stuff. So I was like, I need to find some artists that are Hispanic because I'm gonna need that music,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just I don't know, it's in my blood. I need to hear it because I've been listening to Christian hip hop for a really long time. I'm
Yeah.
really big on hip hop, and I want to be able to play hip hop, especially around Toby, around the girls. Now that they're starting to repeat what they say, I can't just be putting on like Eminem or like J. Cole around them, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't want them to repeat some of the stuff they hear. So I had been already playing a lot of Christian hip hop for the past few years, but I had to like really dig deep and find some like good reggaeton music because you're always gonna get like the corny Christian music too. And I was like, and like I get it. You have a message,
Yeah.
and you're trying to deliver it in this genre, but it has to be good also. Like it can't just
Mm-hmm.
be this like corny message. And it's the same with the hip hop part of it, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if any of the people listening follow me on Instagram. Like all my stories, I usually put Christian hip hop, but that's like solid hip hop. Like it's actually like good bars and flow and everything. And I mean, bad Christian hip hop exists too, and just can't bring myself to listen to that. uh, so when it comes to like the Latin side, like I started listening to a lot of like Tommy Royale. There's Gavi, and legit just found like lists and lists of artists to listen to, and I did notice a slight change in
Your
like
mood.
my day to day and my mood, because even though I'm like listening for the beat and I love the music, I love the production, uh, the words will stay with you, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
especially like a Bad Bunny song, like you'll be saying these things that are like these this doesn't really align with how I want to live my life, but I'm gonna say them because it's catchy. And so even though you tell yourself I'm not listening to the words, you really are.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and I find that listening to certain songs, it just it's uplifting, right? To
Hmm.
listen to music that has a good message. And a lot of these Christian artists out there aren't, they'll talk about Christ, they'll talk about being Christian, but they'll also like they'll talk about very real things too.
Hmm.
And like in Christian hip hop I listen to NF a lot. And I know NF gets criticized for being very like introspective and being almost negative at times, but I always feel like he like points back to God. And it at the end there's always a good message in there, like being honest with yourself. So I've
Hmm.
always liked him for that. And a lot of the like Latin artists that I started listening to, it's all like celebremos, which is like, hey, let's celebrate, let's bring
Hmm.
like let's be together, let's enjoy the moment type of thing. And it's just, yeah, the positive music, the uplifting, like it changes your mood, it really does. And I'll like catch myself singing some of the, like those lines or just saying them to myself and during the day or as I'm like working out. And yeah, like I've added a bunch of artists to my list. And honestly I removed some playlists from Spotify that I had on there. Like I used to have the beast mode
Yeah.
playlist. I think everyone has that as one of their gym playlists. Spotify actually makes a Christian beast mode playlist, and I didn't know
Wow.
they had this. And it's not made by like some user; it's made by Spotify. And I go through and it's like these songs are hard, like they're really good. And so I started
Really?
listening to it. Yeah, it's legit.
I'm
Just it's
listening.
called Christian beast mode. I'm like, all right, let's go. And yeah, man, it changes your mind a bit. So I think I'm gonna stick to that after learn. I want to stick to listening to that music. Obviously, being a big fan of hip hop,
Oh,
I'm still going to like if a very prominent artist drops something, like if J. Cole, Kendrick, even Drake, if they drop something, I'll probably go through and listen to it. But I'm looking at it through a different lens now. I think like
yeah.
and yeah, especially now as a dad, you hear things like I listen to old Eminem tracks that I used to listen to all the time. I'm like, nah, Toby can't hear this. This ain't happening.
I'm I'm sure I'll get to that phase. I just love their description. Let the blessings come down and the weights go up. Get your beast mode on.
There you go. But yeah, shout out Spotify for making that one. And then there's another one. They're called Rapzilla, and I've been following them for years, but they put out a lot of Christian hip hop content that really got me through Lent and really helps a lot. So yeah, shout out to
Good man.
Rapzilla for that one.
Good stuff. Happy
Yeah,
for you, man.
yeah, so try to stick with it, but especially being a millennial, it's hard to not listen to the old tracks, right?
Yeah,
Like
sorry. I was
I find myself wanting to be like, I need some Wu Tang while I'm in the gym, right?
Yep, that's Isaiah's birthday was all 90s hip hop and
Yeah.
R&B.
Well,
So
also I'm not like mean
cover
about
your
it.
cover yours,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, like if Lily wants
And it
to
was
play music, like
yeah,
I'll let her play it. I just if I'm gonna play something, I'm gonna make it like
yeah.
I'm just gonna
It's all about the intent, right?
yeah
Like
yeah. I'm also not over here trying to push this music on everyone else. Like not everyone's there.
right. That's good though. I'm happy for you, man.
But yeah, hopefully it sticks for a while. But I'm feeling good about it right now.
Good, good.
But yeah,
Cool, man.
I think that
Anything.
wraps up this episode. I want to thank everyone for listening, and I want to wish everyone happy Easter. Have fun.
Happy Easter.
Yeah. God bless.
God bless.